Hello, Vital MTV. You're watching 17 Questions with yours truly, Reggie Miller. Let's dive right in. Here we go. These are going to be funny. Number one, who were you rooting for in the Super Bowl last night? Truthfully, I had no dog in the fight. My two teams are the Colts and the Raiders. Obviously, neither was in the Super Bowl, but if I had to pick one team, I was rooting for Atlanta. So I'm a little heartbroken because of that, but I will never, ever, 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 ever go against Tom Brady again. That was spectacular. Number two, at 6'7" inches tall, yes, an NBA great and loving mountain biking, how the heck did that happen? This is how I got into mountain biking. I was in a restaurant, I had just moved to Malibu. Tim Comerfield, the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine, came up to me and was like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. A bunch of us, we go out mountain biking and you should join us. I had no mountain bike. I was like, I don't have a bike. He's like, well, you can ride one of mine. Well, those friends ended up being Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer, and Don Wildman, who at the time owned all these 24/7s and has sold it, so like gazillionaire. So it was Tim, Laird, and Wildman, and those guys are local if you don't know their backgrounds. I used one of Tim's bike. It was this heavy giant bike. This is like in 2001, and the rest was history. I could barely get up a hill, and I fell in love with it just for the simple fact of being outdoors and being in the middle of nowhere. But it was Tim who got me introduced to mountain biking. Are you thankful for 29-inch wheels? Absolutely, because not only did Tim have a 26-incher, my first real bike, which was a Giant, had 26-inch wheels, and they were too small for me. So I came in here to Serious Cycling, and my good friend Brian Hale, we came up with a bike that was tailor-made for me. It was my first bike, real bike, which was a Moots, and that had 29 inchers. So thank God for the 29 inchers. Did you see Marshawn Lynch almost get hit by a bus while doing a wheelie? No, I did not see that, though I am, Marshawn, working on my wheelie game. So hey, let's have a wheelie off, Marshawn. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being what is tire pressure, and 10 being the anti-squat properties of this suspension design are inferior, how would you rate yourself as a bike tech nerd? I would say I am a 2. I would say I'm a 2. I don't know how to change a tire. Nope. I don't know anything about my forks or suspension. I know a little bit about my dropper seat post. Nothing about my crank or my chain, but that's why I pay all the great people here at Serious Cycling to take care of my bike. That's why they get paid the big bucks. But it's funny, I don't think Jeff Gordon and all those great race car drivers know a lot about their cars. That's why they have mechanics. I just drive the machine, they take care of the machine. Is there any truth to the rumor that you stayed with the Indiana Pacers for 18 years just so you could be within driving distance of the greatest basketball team in history of the universe, the Detroit Pistons? No. I stayed with Indiana Pacers because it was my mission to bring a championship to Indiana. I'm sure a lot of Chicago Bulls fans would not like you saying that Detroit Pistons are the center of the universe. In the Midwest, it probably goes Chicago, Indiana, just kidding, Detroit, then Indiana, in terms of popularity. Of the mountain bikers you follow on Instagram, who posts do you look forward to the most? I would say Sonia Looney, because you talk about crazy, crazy people. She's wired differently. Anyone that does those 24-hour mountain bike races, they don't have it all there. So I take a lot of inspiration for Sonia, Lauren Gregg, who is fantastic enduro, Ryan Geiger, who was one of the guys who helped me and taught me a lot on the bike, my partner in my racing, George Moda. So yeah, I look forward to their posts quite often. Have you ever watched a World Cup downhill webcast? No. If yes, how's Rob Warner's commentary? Don't know who Rob Warner is. Sorry, Rob. If you haven't watched one, we need to talk. Okay, sorry. Sorry, Rob. You've raced twice now. Are you to the point where you're mean mugging your competitors as hard as you did Spike Lee at 94? It's funny you say that because in the second race, there was a lot more people and it was much more competitive. There was a few elbows at the start of the race, which I didn't know really went on. My good friend Brian Hale told me that, racing was supposed to be fun, but apparently not. Guys were kind of, kicking me a little bit, but thanks, Brian, for not telling me that I could actually elbow someone in the beginning of the race and get away with it. So, knock on wood, do you ever worry about riding and face planting right before a commentary gig? I am so worried about these races now because the one thing I've always told Brian is I need this. This is the money maker. But how am I going to explain to my bosses at TNT when I come in with a black eye and a chipped tooth and scratches all on my face? I'm worried about it, but those are badges. Bad badges when you crash, but they're badges. So I try to be careful. I don't worry about it too much during the summer because I'm off, but it's tough now to do these races when I've got to work once a week and be on camera. I don't care what happens from here down. So as long as nothing happens to here, I'm okay. So if I have bruises and all that down low, I don't care because I'm suited up. Name 3 people you take with you and where do you go for your all-time dream bike vacation? Well, I will say this, all I'm hearing about is Whistler. People keep saying Whistler this, Whistler that. So I'm assuming Whistler is nice or somewhere in Colorado, one of those 2 places. And who would I take? Well, obviously people that know how to ride bikes good. Brian Hale, would you go with me? Brian Hale from Serious Cycling, he would be one. Obviously I would take Sonia and I would probably take Bernard Kerr, one of the best wheelie guys. You should do a wheelie with him, Brian. Wheelie, yes, I would probably take Mr. Kerr. If your son could have a basketball career over a bike career, which would you prefer? Both. Because to me, I grew up riding bikes, not like these kind of bikes, but everyone grew up riding bikes. And it helped me work on my balance, but it made my legs strong. So that's why I'm getting him on a bike as soon as possible. And it can transition into anything he wants. Basketball, football, baseball, doctor, lawyer, fireman, whatever. Which single piece of riding technique advice has been the most important to you? Balance, stay low, keep your legs out, balance. Balance is probably the biggest thing. When are you going to drop the spandex and get a downhill bike and move to Whistler? Hey, I said Whistler, I didn't even know it was on here. I'm never moving to Whistler. I only do spandex for the races. I like wearing baggies and the hoodies and all that, but I only do the spandex. I didn't know what to wear for races. Everyone kept saying spandex, spandex, so I went with spandex. I didn't know. Do you have an experience that stands out in your mind as your best ride ever? I mean, it's hard to say best ride. I just love when it's hot, sunny, and I can just be on my bike for 2 to 3 hours and I come back in one piece. To me, those are always the best days. If you could go ride any trail right now within an hour of here, which trail would it be? Point Mugu in Malibu. Because not only do you get single track and technical, but it also has its fire roads that eventually connects to the ocean. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the elevation, you get the scenery of the water, you get the nice downhills of Backbone, and you get the fire roads just to chill out and relax and have a good time. Plus you can get lost. I like getting lost when I go to trails. And number 17. Wouldn't you rather be riding, yes, than answering these dumb ass questions? Absolutely. But if you can't see, but it's raining outside, if it wasn't raining, I would be on a mountain bike, but I had to answer these damn 17 questions. I'm Reggie Miller. I appreciate it. Thank you. No, look at that. I know. I'm a big guy.